TBC, what's the deal? Now, I was watching the press conference for this fight yesterday, and I seen Andre Berto and Victor Ortiz were in each other's faces. And even for the first fight, they were doing a lot of talking to each other. But in this particular one, Berto pushed him back. I guess Ortiz was in his face or so on. He must have said something, but he pushed him. And, there is some true animosity here. I just really don't think Berto can get out of his system that he actually lost to Victor Ortiz. It just stings him. Out of all his losses, I just think that Victor Ortiz loss just stings him the most. Maybe it's because, Victor Ortiz was the first guy to officially, take away his undefeated record. Although I thought that Luis Collazo fight was very close with Andre Berto. But anyways, Ortiz was the first one to, technically take away his undefeated record. That was the fight, you guys remember. If he had won that fight, he was supposed to fight Floyd Mayweather next. That's the fight that Floyd and 50 Cent showed up at the front row. Entertaining fight. That was a very entertaining fight between Vic and Berto. Both guys went down. I just don't think Berto just mentally got over losing to Victor Ortiz. Now, going into this rematch, I'm going to go with Berto, but this is just, it's very hard to pick who I think is going to win this fight because psychologically you would think Victor Ortiz has the advantage being that he's, both guys went down, but he hurt Berto in that fight. I thought he won that fight against Berto. I thought he won that fight pretty clear. It was close, decisive, but I thought he won it though. You know what I mean? One thing about Berto that I do know is he's going to keep fighting to the finish, man. I really believe he's going to keep fighting to the finish. The fight that he did get stopped in, it was round 12, you know what I mean? And he was taking some shots, and it was a close fight with Soto Karass. I don't think this is the same Berto that I seen in 2010, 2009. I don't think he's as sharp, as fast anymore. Now, he may be a little bit more patient now. And I'm sure if you ask him, he's a smarter fighter now. And he may be, but just the Berto I seen, 2009, it's just not the same Berto to me. Not the same Victor Ortiz. Now, with Victor Ortiz, again, I just don't know what to expect from Vic, man. I just really don't. He might quit. He might give you a war. He might say, hey, my jaw hurts. I think it's broke. I'm done. He may put a guy down in the first round and then he gets put down and he'll get up and quit and have a smile on his face afterwards. He may have a back and forth like he did with Lamont Peterson. He may headbutt somebody and then try to tell them, hey, I'm sorry, and tap their gloves and get caught with a punch. I don't know what to expect from this dude. He may go in there with Luis Collazo and, have Collazo looking like the next coming to George Foreman. Like, I don't know what to expect. Now, I did watch his fight here on YouTube, the Gilberto Sanchez Leon fight. I'm glad that he got some rounds. He looked good in that fight. He looked good. But again, that's against lesser opposition. Guys with experience, but Manuel Perez and Gilberto Sanchez Leon, those guys with guys he's supposed to beat. So none of those victories were surprising. They wasn't overly impressive, but he did get some good work in, and he clearly won those fights, just getting some rounds under his belt. But I just don't know, man. I really just don't know what Victor Ortiz is going to show up. And that's the thing, like, that's the wild card. I don't know. Berto may go in there and hit him with something clean and flush. Vic may quit. But the thing that Vic beat him immensely going into this fight, I think he'll be right going into this one because he's beaten Berto. So it's either going to be redemption or it's going to be a repeat. You know what I mean? Now, like I said with Berto, it's been hard for him to get over this. I know when he lost to Vic, I remember like a few days after the fight, or was it the next day? He came out saying something on his, I believe it was his Twitter account. He came out saying something that he know the guy that sold Ortiz those Flintstone vitamins. He was just real sour grapes, man. He really didn't just officially, really give him his props. He may have said he fought a good fight, but he had excuses. Then he came out saying, I really didn't take the fight serious. I didn't train hard. So on and so forth. I know both of these guys, been dealing with injuries. So as far as going into this fight, both guys are training hard. There's animosity. No excuses for this one, you know. And to me, there was no excuses for that first one. You lost, bro. Like, Victor Ortiz beat you. You know, you can say you didn't train, okay, but that's your fault. That's not Victor Ortiz's fault that you didn't train hard for him. And that doesn't really make any sense, because had you won that fight, you had the Floyd fight next. So why wouldn't you train hard going into like a, you know, eliminator type fight for Floyd, you know? But anyways, man, it's just really hard to pick a winner in this. And both of these guys are not the same fighters that I've seen in the past. They're both there, but even the past Ortiz, that's the thing about Ortiz, like even the past Ortiz was still shaky to me. Just mentally, he's just shaky. One thing about Berto, I know he's not mentally shaky. He may go in there and do some things technically where you're like, man, why doesn't he fight like this? Why doesn't he fight like that? But to me, Ortiz showed that Berto has difficulty fighting off his back foot. He's better when he's coming forward and able to throw flashy combinations. That's, to me, that's when Berto's at his best. I'm not saying Berto can't get on his back foot and flick a jab out there, but to me, he's more comfortable when he's coming forward. You know, so interesting fight, man. It's very intriguing. I just don't want to hear any excuse. I don't want to hear I wasn't ready, or I didn't train that hard, or I'm just really not trying to hear it, man. You know, so I'm going to go with Berto by knockout. I think he just has more left. And although both guys put each other down, I think I would favor Berto's chin over Vic's. But again, and then it's just with Vic, man, I just don't know what to expect from him. He's just such a wild card. It's hard to gauge Victor Ortiz, man. He may quit. He may give us a fight of the year candidate. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just, it's like a wild card, man. But I'm going to go with Berto in this. Although I would usually, in a situation like this, go with a guy like Victor Ortiz, but I don't know what he has left. And his last few fights have been against, you know, less than stellar opposition. But he did win, and that's the important thing, is getting some victories under your belt. But I don't know, man. But I can, one thing I tell you, if this second fight is anything like the first fight, I can watch Berto and Vic fight 10 times. You know what I mean? If they keep this up. But I don't know, man. Then Berto, he, you know, was having trouble with Josecito Lopez in that fight. I had him losing on the scorecards. This Steve Upshaw Chambers fight, it was okay. And then he lost to Carras and he lost to Guerrero. He won the Zavik fight, you know. So I mean, I'm gonna go with Berto, man. But really, it's really 50-50. If I do favor Berto, I mean, I'm literally favoring him like 51-49, and that's just because Vic to me is just a wild card. But at the same time, Berto's really never got over that loss. Maybe that give him the motivation to come into this fight and take care of business. As far as breaking down the styles and everything, to me, it's just whoever can push the other one backwards. Because both of these guys, to me, have trouble, or they aren't at their best when they're fighting backwards. So to me, whoever can initiate the action and push the other guy back, that will most likely be the guy that wins this fight. Now, the other guy may show me something, may go on his back foot and impress me. But to me, whoever can initiate and take control from round one, I believe that may be the guy that's going to win the fight. But like that first fight, you know, looked like Berto's going to take control going into the fight, and then Vic turned the table on him, you know what I mean? And they went back and forth, but I'm going to go with Berto, but I'm not really confident about the pick, though. Vic is just too much of a wild card for me, but YTBC, I'm out.